Hey guys, good evening, and we have Mr. Ramendra Kumar again, and welcome to the new series, Beautiful Minds. And let me alert you with a caution. This is extremely contagious. All the guests who are joining these particular episodes are extremely contagious because they have beautiful minds. Ramendra is an award-winning writer, storyteller, and inspirational speaker. Most importantly, the way he looks at life is completely different, and that's one of the reason we brought him here on a specific topic. And today's topic, which he's going to discuss, is about relationships, because relationships matter a lot. And the topic today is you, me, and us. So let's talk to Mr. Ramendra as to why he decided this particular topic. What is the reason behind this particular topic? And we have some questions about relationships. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, actually, relationships have always mattered, but I don't think they have ever mattered more than during COVID times. That's when people were locked up in houses and homes or whatever for long periods of time. And they never had this kind of an experience, staying cooped up in houses. And that's where, if the relationships are not strong, the chinks and the cracks begin to show and begin to widen. So that's why I feel relationships, whether it is a relationship between me and myself, right? Or between me and my partner, me and children, and me, most important now, between me and the society. If these relationships are not strong, tomorrow is really going to be much, much tougher than what is today and what was yesterday.
Okay. So why do you think relationships are very important for an individual, for herself or himself, this importance, and why is it?
See, first you introduced me as with a kind of a warning. So let me come out with a disclaimer. I'm not a psychiatrist. Though my wife and my jijaji both think that I need a shrink or a psychiatrist, and my jijaji in particular thinks I also need a pediatrician because I'm very childish. He says childish, I say childlike. So what is this connect between me and myself? So how am I going to explain this relationship? My disclaimer is that I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a pedagogue, I'm not a social scientist. I'm simply the son of possibly the most awesomest dad. I'm a husband to a great partner. I'm the father of two prodigies. Handling them is like one hell of a task. And also, I have been in the world of children as a writer for more than 20, 25 years. And Ravi, you will agree that the happiest people on earth are children. And if you're in the world of children, telling them stories, writing stories for them, whether in India or abroad, across the globe, I've gone to different places. I find that all children are mostly alike and they epitomize happiness. Being with them, you can have the happiness connect. And what makes a person happy? Now, that's a question which has been tried to, people have been trying to answer this since God knows where, time immemorial. But what I would like to tell you is that there is a Japanese concept called ikigai.
Mhm.
Ikigai is what makes you jump out of the bed every morning with hope and joy and happiness. That is basically your passion. So
Right.
let me tell my daughter's story. In class 10, she got 97% in science and 93% overall, which was considered pretty good. This was in 2006. Now, in my family, most of us are horrible engineers or terrible doctors. But still, we wanted her to be either an engineer or a doctor. So I asked her, Beta, her name is Ankita, what would you like to be? What would you like to do in, after class 10? She said, maths gives me a headache and science gives me a tummy ache. So I would like to take up arts. So I said, by all means. Now there are two beautiful beings in my house. My wife, whom I call Sherni, and my mother-in-law, who's Babbar Sherni. And I'm the chuha in the house, the mouse in the house, who hardly ever raises his voice except when chatting with Ravi. So I went and told him that no, Ankita is going to take up arts. Now there was World War III. How can you do that? Art is for duffers. 2006, mind you. Arts is for duffers. She should take up science and all that. So I said, there's no question. If she doesn't want to take up arts or science, doesn't want to be an engineer or a doctor, let her do what she wants. So my mother-in-law said that you want to fulfill your unfulfilled aspirations through your daughter. I wanted to take up literature, but I had to do engineering. So I said, whatever you might say, there's no question she'll take up arts. Then she again came up with an argument. For 2 years, let her take up maths or science. Her brain will develop. This is how she indicated. Her brain will develop. So I said, for your whimsical theory of brain developing like this, you want to spoil 730 days of your grandchild's life. She's going to take up arts. She took up arts, and Ravi, she topped the state of Odisha
Wow.
in arts. Then she did her grad from Christ College. She joined an ad agency, a production company, not an ad agency, a production company. So for 1 year she worked there, and then she rang me up suddenly and she said that I cannot do this, Papa. I said, like, what's wrong with it? I said, I'm working for 18 hours. There's no creativity at all. That time the production house was doing a movie on an air hostess. So for the last 6, 7 months, I'm only finding out what the air hostess was wearing, what was the cockpit like, where the plane was landing, and this thing continuously and all. This is not creative. 18 hours I work for doing a film which is not even my own, and I stay in a matchbox size apartment. I said,
Mhm.
what do you want to do? So she said, I want to travel. I said, Beta, I can't sponsor your travel. I can sponsor your travel from Monda Market to Secunderabad railway station, but not beyond that. She said, no, no, I have saved something. And she started. She started with Vietnam and Sri Lanka. She came back and started blogging. Then one of her friends said that, why don't you approach brands? She wrote 100 mails, you know. Finally, she got a call from 3 companies, and one company shortlisted her, and that was Titan Raga. And they sponsored her tour to South America. So from Rourkela, she went to the Amazon jungle, and there she did a 3 day survival stint, catching live piranhas and eating them, pitching her tent and everything else and all. And because she had to have that protein, eating what are these called? Worms
Worms.
crawling out of the bark of a tree, chewing them for proteins. Now, my wife is a pure vegetarian, and when Ankita sent me that video of her munching termites, I showed that video. And when I saw Madhvi's face contorting with shock, fear, and disgust, that was my ikigai, Ravi. I really enjoyed. But seriously, today, Ankita, like I was telling you, now Ankita is on BBC World an hour from now. You know, she's been featured on MTV and National Geographic Channel and so many other places and all that. Her Insta following is 78K minus 214. Everybody in the family is famous. So, but what I'm trying to say is I'm not just singing praises of Ankita. What I'm trying to tell you is she followed her ikigai. She followed her passion. So an individual needs to follow his or her passion to be connected, to be happy. And we as parents or as nephews or as uncles or as grandpas, we should encourage this. And this following the ikigai part was mentioned by Baba Ranchor Das in The Three Idiots in 2010. And I said it in 2008. So I'm the original beautiful mind and the first idiot, right?
Very
So
true.
that is about individual connecting with himself. I have taken voluntary retirement because I want to follow my ikigai, which is coming on Ravi's shows and doing a lot of writing and storytelling.
Thank you. Thank you. Very honored. So, talking about, Ramendra ji, talking about relationships, it's very difficult to maintain one, it's easy to start one, but really difficult to maintain one. So, how do you nurture a relationship between life partners, especially, somebody who's, दिखने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है, शादी करने के बाद, it's a different story altogether.
I know it's a
You
different
get to
story
know
altogether.
more detail about the personality, more detail
I know.
about, how much time they need and stuff like that. So, how do you?
Great question. So let me start by saying about my childhood. You know, what made me realize the importance of relationships between life partners. My dad was a professor of Hindi, a very erudite gentleman, great personality. My mom was a short story writer who used to, have collaborations with Rishikesh Mukherjee, that level. She was trying to have a collaboration with Rishikesh Mukherjee, Basu Chatterjee, Basu Bhattacharya, and all. Both were ideal in that sense. But our house was not a home, it was a battlefield. My sister, who's 9 years older than I, we used to be playing Ludo or listening to some songs or something, and then that in the background, that the squabble would start. First, raised voices, then shouting, then yelling, then throwing of vessels and everything else, and then screeching and accusations, and then that calm before the next storm. And that continued on and on. And finally, when I was just 14, they got divorced. They were separated. My mother went with somebody else, and my dad, became a single parent, he brought me up from the age of 14. So those shards still prickle. I still have nightmares about those moments when you're sitting, two kids are sitting in the house, in the drawing room or in the living room and all that. And then suddenly in the background, the voices start. And then it starts hitting you that are we going to be together tomorrow? Is today the last day of our family together? One day I came home after playing, and I found my parents sitting together and chatting and laughing. And my father did something like this, and my mother blushed. I kept that memory forever, because I knew those moments are not going to last forever, and there are not going to be many moments like this. I still have that memory with me. I wanted to give many, many such memories to my kids. So my Madhvi and I had a love marriage after a lot of excitement and adventure, typical Telugu or Hindi movie love marriage, and we decided that we should be best friends. Best friends have fights. Yeah, definitely they have fights. And between us, there was a movie called Key and Ka, I think, where we are exactly opposite in temperament, and there is some kind of a role reversal. I have no head for finances. Madhvi is really, really good. She is the Sherni of the share market. She invests, she divests and all that, and she enjoys herself. She's the finance minister. She's the home minister. She's the defense minister. She's the offense minister. I take care of only women and child welfare. And Ravi, women in plural.
Yeah.
And we have so many more differences. I, in one-to-one conversation, I'm kind of tongue-tied, I don't, and she can go for a chatathon, she can chat with anybody and all. But when it comes to going on the podium and speaking, she's not able to speak much. She's very nervous. And for me, an audience of 1,000 is ideal. I
Yeah.
can really freak out and all that. And then flirting, she can't flirt. She's so embarrassed when I used to flirt with her. And for me, flirting, like I heard about you also, flirting is almost second nature. And I think I'm rather good at it. And I enjoy.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. So, Ramen should be back. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, sorry. I think whenever I don't praise my wife, she does something to the connection,
Yeah,
That's why it got disconnected. So she has four left feet. She can't dance for us, but she's a beautiful, melodious singer, and she's sung on your forum also. And then basically, I'm right brained, very emotional, creative kind, and she's left brained, very rational. Most important is her life position is I'm okay, you're okay.
yeah.
My life position is I'm okay, you're not okay, or I'm not okay, you're okay. So she has the ideal life position. If today she's able to, if our partnership is lasting for 32 years, it's partly because of her maturity and her position of I'm okay, you're okay.
You're
Her ability to tolerate my idiosyncrasies, my eccentricities, and laugh them off. We love shopping. Can I share a small incident about our shopping?
Yeah, yeah, please. Love to hear, some.
So she loves, and for her the greatest turn on, like for many other people, it is uh, discount. So we had gone to Lucknow. In Lucknow, we were going on Hasratganj, one of the most popular places. So there was a big shop written 80% discount on saris, up to 80%. She barged in. There were around 800 bhabis of different, this thing, outlooks and temperament and all that. And there was one particular place where it was written 80%. So she rushed there. There was a counter, and there were around 200 bhabis, and there was one or two hapless salesperson. So she grabbed hold of a sari which she loved, and as she was trying to tug, there was a bhabhi at the other end of it. So then I did what everybody did to Hanumanji. I told her, Are you going to allow a mere bhabhi to rob you of your discount? You are the discus champion. She's actually a discus champion. You're a shot put champion of your college. You're a javelin champion. You can't do this. What is going to happen to your reputation? So she tugged like this. The sari came, along with her, the bhabhi also came. She tugged once, bhabhi that side, sari this side, and she came away. Slight exaggeration, but she loves shopping, and I love watching her shop. It gives me great material for satire and humor, and the thrill when she gets a discount. It's worth it. Her beautiful face lights up and fills my heart. And they are see. I want to tell the viewers that every relationship is a potpourri of a mixture of similarities and differences. If you're opposite, it'll lead to chaos. If you're too much alike, it'll lead to boredom, ennui. So the mantra is celebrate your differences, enjoy the similarities, and forget the rest.
Right.
Most important, have continual communication. There should never be a breakdown in communication. Your house should be a home, not a mausoleum for your children. This is one line which is my favorite. I hold the copyright. Trump tried to borrow it. I said no. Never, never allow the violence of silence to destroy your home, your marriage, or your happiness. The violence of silence. Never, ever allow it to destroy you.
Yeah, truly agree. What you're saying is let fights happen, let's debate happen, but silence is much more killing thing than any of.
Yeah, true, true.
Okay, so we have some compliments and some questions coming in. Shalini Verma is saying absolutely. This was a while back. Not sure which sentence she agreed. Ravinder
I think
Rao.
she's saying it for all sentences.
Ravinder Rao Kundapalli is saying passion. I think he meant about the yeah. Then Anindita Malhotra Mahapatra. Do you think others can make or break your relationships, or is it that you are solely responsible for the success of your relationships? Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You are
good question. This is lovely.
You're responsible because others can try to. I mean, it's up to you. Tomorrow, suppose somebody comes and tells me that I'm a donkey. If I start believing I'm a donkey, then nobody can help it. No, I should have that kind of confidence in myself that no, I'm not a donkey. One thing, crudely explained, but really, what Anandita is asking is, and my answer is that nobody can interfere with your relationship. If you are strong, if you have trust, if you are transparent with each other, and again, that one word which people don't realize the importance of, respect, whether it's a husband respecting the wife or the wife respecting the husband, trust, transparency, and respect, if these are there, nobody can touch your marriage.
Good one. So sorry, Anandita ji, I hope the question was addressed and rightly addressed by Ramendra ji, and Ravindra Rao ji again saying wow, and Antara is saying Ramendra ji book Effective Parenting, a new paradigm deals with relationship in such a endearing, compassionate manner. Anyone can identify with it, and after reading it, it will have a lot of takeaways about not only parenting but also creating value in life. So, can you talk a bit about this particular book?
Yeah, this
Thank
book
you.
is called Effective Parenting, New Paradigm. And this talks about the various aspects of parenting. You know, like I said, if the bonding between parents, how important it is for children, spending time with children. See, here I talk about a concept. Again, I hold the this thing copyright to it. Amitabh Bachchan wanted to borrow. I said no, no way. It's called ATM. You've heard of ATM as automatic teller machine. Mine is anytime memory. So you create memories. Why do you create memories? Toys get broken,
Mhm.
clothes get torn, gadgets get lost, but memories last forever. So I have developed this ATM card. And how do you feed the ATM card? By feeding memories. And these memories, how do you create these memories? This ATM card, the importance of ATM card, it has no value because it is priceless. Whatever happens to the share market, its value will keep growing. It won't get torn, it won't get lost. It won't get lost. So you create memories by spending time. TIME, a four-letter word which everybody says that I don't have enough. You create memories by spending time. And how did I spend time? Many ways. We used to have something called a Papa's Day out, where we would send Madhvi to the office with a big lunchbox, and we used to have a whale of a time and do everything which she would object to, like eating in seedy restaurants, dressing in weird kind of clothes, and generally playing a fool of ourselves, making a fool of ourselves. Also, there was this. I used to do one particular ceremony. My son Aniket was in class 3, I think. I would go to drop him, and then I would do this. I hope everybody can see. This is called chutki.
Hmm.
Yeah, with all the kids, and the kids would clamor, and Aniket would be the minister, the minister of chutki, and he would tell me, Papa, Deepali आज उसका first day है. She has become my best friend. उसको दो चुटकी दो.
Okay.
और he would recommend, नीरज आज वो जैम सैंडविच मेरे साथ शेयर किया, उसको 4 चुटकी दो. So this chutki became a regular affair. Aniket's favorite ma'am was Geeta ma'am,
Mhm.
and he was like her bar lamb. So when we went to take the report card, and I asked Ani, मैं गीता मैम के साथ चुटकी करूं? He was shocked. He started shaking his head like a pendulum. How could even Papa do something like this? Geeta ma'am is like that. She's like at what level? And Papa is going to do chutki. So I told Geeta, how about a chutki? And I did chutki. And the expression on Aniket's face, I still remember, and we all laugh about it. What was I doing? I was creating a memory.
Hmm.
So I invite all parents to create as many memories as possible.
For kids.
And how do these things help you? 4 of us were locked up together after a period of 12 years. My son, my daughter, Madhvi, and I, with our Labrador. And I thought that for 99 days we were together. I thought there's going to be a World War III, because so many egos and this and that. But we had a blast. Why did we have a blast? We went back to our memories. We encashed our respective ATM cards. We played dumb shares. I'm very good at dumb shares because I'm dumb. Then we played chess and Ludo. Madhvi cooked up some lovely stuff for us and all. We took out old albums and found out how stupid I was looking when I was in college. And Ankita said, Mummy, how could you marry this person? He looks like such a ruffian. And we had a blast. We had a great laugh and all that. So, how did we, let me quote, I have written it down here. How did we battle COVID? By bridging emotional distances, wearing smiles, and tugging at memories. That's how we battled COVID. So, again, the same thing, memory. And I've talked in this book about how to create an ATM, the importance of ATM.
Superb. So we have more compliments rolling in. Shalini Verma is saying inspiring. And Joy Dev Majumdar is saying loved this silent quote. And we have Shalini Verma saying love the love of your Sherni. Okay. Looks like somebody from the other party. Okay. Complimenting Madhvi ji indirectly. Okay. Rupalim is saying, loved your advice. Never ever allow the violence of silence break your home. Yeah, thank you, Rupalim. And Manjul Shaha is saying, Ramendra sir, there's a saying, silence is golden, but I surely believe that you don't believe in it at all. We love to hear you always, but wonder whether Madhvi madam ever requested to keep your mouth shut for some minutes. Were you ever successful in doing so? Jokes apart, is silence also an effective weapon for healthy relationship? Good question. I like the last part.
Yeah, yeah.
Is silence
It's
also an effective weapon for healthy relationship? Is
uh,
PG on in the other room influencing some of these audience to ask the
no,
possible,
no,
right?
she's practicing singing. We are going to come up with an album very shortly of 5 songs. So
Okay,
I've written the ghazals and she's going to sing them and all. So she's practicing that.
okay. एक बार चेक कर लो क्योंकि ये कुछ ज्यादा ही आपके तरफ आ रहा है सो एक बार चेक yeah but yeah so would you like to answer a question showing is silence also effective weapon? I mean I've been through it, so
Effective
what's your opinion?
effective weapon?
Yeah, so is silence also an effective weapon for healthy relationships?
Weapon healthy. That itself is a contradiction. Any weapon can never be healthy in the long run, you know. And silence in what I think Manjul is trying to say is that suppose sometime Madhvi, suppose she makes a remark which hurts me very much. So instead of retorting, I remain silent for some time and then I later explain to her that, I felt hurt. Or later I tell her, come on, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. That was a bit too much. Or we argue about it and all. What I mean by silences, those long silences where you don't communicate your feelings. You're just going through the routine, you know, of daily life and living. And you're not communicating at all. Even body language is not silence, You might not be talking too much, but jadoo ki jhappi or a pyar ki puppy, so the kids also feel they are in the same ambience of love and affection. That is important,
True.
not the kind of silence which I'm trying to say, which is very bad for any relationship,
Yeah.
except between Trump and his Biden, somebody.
So it is definitely horrible. Yeah, I agree with you. Silence as a weapon, maybe used for a while, to make the spouse understand
It's
that.
not a weapon, it's
Yeah.
a restraint. It's a restraint that right now she's angry with me or she's passed some remark. If I retort, it's going to again escalate the situation. So that is just restraint, but it is not the kind of silence I'm talking about. That is the violence of silence.
Yeah.
Silence as a weapon to hurt somebody.
Yeah. It is definitely horrible experience sleeping, on the same bed, not talking, facing opposite side. So I think that shouldn't happen. And I mean any situation, anything in the same topic. Can you talk about the male ego? There might be a lot of relationships just because of ego. People don't want to talk. They don't want to give up.
True.
ऐसा
True.
सिचुएशन में आप कैसे हैंडल करते हो?
Male ego is one of the most fragile things on planet Earth, especially our generation, because our dads were still steeped in that patriarchy and all, and we have had to move away. So, like, I think I've given the example earlier also that I was junior to my wife by 2 years because I resigned and then joined back because of the problems in our marriage and all that. So I was subjected to a lot of insults, ridicule, and all. So I could have suffered from that male ego, I'm more qualified. I'm older than her. I've got two professional degrees. Yes, I'm 2 years junior. But does it really matter? 32 years now, does it really matter? When I see my kids, when I see Madhvi being and us happy together, nothing happens. Nothing else matters. And this male ego is something which has to be treated, because that patriarchal, those sediments are still very much there in our mindset, in our minds. I know my relatives. I come from a Marwadi family. I know my relatives. They're otherwise very, very good. But on the dining table, it's always like this. Pushpa, वो चटनी में धनिया नहीं दिया? ये क्या धनिया तुम्हारे बाप के घर से आ रहा है? Very casually mentioned in front of the kids. I'm giving you just one example. There are so many such instances where the male ego rears its ugly head. There are boundaries. Finance has to be controlled by the man. This has to be controlled by the man. Uh, what are the kind of words? Pati Parmeshwar. Now it's much less. If you see even some serials even now, What the hell is this? Bhai? You are equal. Period. There is no scope for ego, male or female. If you want to have ego, then don't have a relationship. Don't get married. Marry your ego and live unhappily ever after.
So Naveen Singh is asking, in today's world, what is the major reason for stress in relationships between parents and kids? Good question. I thought
Uh,
he was asking about, spouse, but he's talking about relationship stress in relationships between parents and kids.
yeah, one of the major reasons is that parents don't have time for children. They are running after their aspirations and whatever they are. And then with the social media, everybody, I've known women, mothers or dads feeding their kid and watching something on the television, and instead of putting it in the mouth, putting it in the nose. Seriously, But this is a simple example. But otherwise, they don't have time for their kids. My Again, I'm coming back to the same thing. You spend time with your child, and many of these things will disappear. Trust your child. We don't trust our kids. I'll give you an example. I was a student of HPS, Begumpet, one of the top schools of Andhra Pradesh at one time, and I was a topper. Looking at my face, you can't imagine that I must have been a topper. In class nine, my sister got married. So in a Marwadi marriage, you have this long list of celebrations. Lagai, sagai, bujhai, dhulai, pitai, etc., etc. I missed 15 days. Only brother. Then I had a attack of malaria and another attack of malaria. I missed a month and a half. In class 10, I entered class 10. If you miss 1.5 months, you are nowhere. So in the first unit test, I failed. I couldn't take it. I just, I almost had a nervous breakdown, and I told my parents that I cannot go back to school. I can't bear the jeers of my classmates and the admonitions of my teachers. So 1 month they tolerated and all that, and then my mother said that after 3 days you have to go. So I said, I cannot. I'll appear as a private candidate. He said, what do you mean? She said, what do you mean private candidate? You know what is the fees of HPS? It was 4 times the other kind of schools and all that. We can't. You think we sent you so that you'll go to a private school to appear privately? You have to appear. Monday you are going to go to school. And she was a tough lady, very tough lady. So this was Saturday. Saturday I didn't sleep. Sunday night at 12 o'clock in my house, I broke open a bottle of phenyl and was about to drink it.
Oops.
That door had a mosquito mesh, so that he could see. So my dad had just gone to drink some water. He saw that, he broke open the door. He hugged me, he cried, and I cried. And then he said that your life is most important to me. And whatever happens, if you do not want to go to school, don't appear as a private candidate. I'm with you. And he told my mother that, okay, just keep off. Otherwise we will lose him. हम अपने बच्चे को खो देंगे सिर्फ किसी की जिद पर. So then he supported me through and through. I appeared as a private candidate, got a first class, and today I'm chatting with you. So what is the single most important thing? My dad trusted in me. He trusted in my ability to, make something out of my position right then. Okay, he trusted. He had confidence that, okay, if this guy doesn't want to go to school, it doesn't matter. Life is not over. Let him appear. Let him slog it out. Let him appear as a private candidate, and let him. At least we will not lose him. So that element of trust, that is also missing between parents and kids now.
Yeah, well said. I think very very good example of the trust factor between parents and kids. So yeah, Naveen, yeah, I think this is a right example for your question, and thanks for asking, Naveen Singh. So Rupalim is asking, love your jodi of a macho woman and mellow man. Is Rupalim also a writer?
Yes, she writes
Yeah,
very well.
yeah.
She
So,
writes very well. Yeah,
so Shalini Verma is saying, good memories. Memories keep us rejuvenated for life. So,
absolutely. That is the bank you encash on.
yeah. Pardo Mondal is saying, by the way, Ramenji and Madhviji make a great couple. I have met both of them. So that's a compliment for both of you. Okay. And Anandita saying, what role can others have in building or breaking our relationships? Hmm.
She's, I think, stuck on the other. What I would like to say is that others can play a supportive role. Like kids can play a supportive role, your in-laws can play a supportive role, but ultimately it is between the two of you. There is a concept. I've written a song on that. हम मैं और तुम कैसे हो गए जिस्म और जान जुदा कैसे हो गए. So it is always hum. When the ego comes, especially the male ego, then मैं और तुम. Once it is मैं और तुम, then it is finished. So the hum should remain hum, and for that hum to remain hum, this मैं and tum should be together. Not, and nobody can separate them if they are together. There will be struggles. Definitely, there will be issues. There will be problems, but hum should remain hum.
And any situations where others have tried to, influence or, either of you to, break the trust. Example, without taking the name.
Yes, they
So that,
have they
we,
have
we
been.
know.
We had issues of because we are intercaste. Issues would come up that his style of eating or what his diet or he comes from that particular family, and all these murmurings were there from both the sides. From both the sides, but there was one person who was rock solid behind us, and that was my dad. So every time I used to feel that pressure, I would go to him. He has come from a broken marriage, right? But the advice which he used to give me was always perfect. He would always tell me the same thing. बेटा, कभी तुम झुकोगे, कभी वो झुकेगी, तभी शादी चलेगी. तुम दोनों अड़के रहोगे, तो शादी चलेगी नहीं और बच्चे बर्बाद होंगे.
Yeah, I think only the person who has lost it or, have realized the value for it can, give such good suggestions. So I respect that. So, the next question is a wonderful point. This is from Partho. Wonderful point about Jadoo ki Jappi. And Ishika Kiran is asking, sir, what advice would you offer for young boys of today who put their male ego over basic human decency?
I would simply tell them, please grow up, man. Which world are you living in? Don't wear the cloak of patriarchy, which is now blown to smithereens. If you want to survive, now the risk is not the lady, the risk is the gent. He is going to be go the dinosaur way, the dodo way, if he doesn't change. Because the women of today, they are young, they are confident, they are cool, and they know their minds, and they're not afraid to speak. So beware the male chauvinist.
Okay. For Hindi audience, कुछ हिंदी में about the same topic, advice to male ego about human, about the decency. हिंदी में कुछ बताना चाहोगे?
अने हम इतना बोलेंगे कि भाई ये जो ईगो वीगो है ना, उसको आप अलग ही रखिए, परे ही रखिए. वो जमाना चला गया जब पति परमेश्वर होता था. अब आप बराबर हैं. आप बराबर रह के चलेंगे तो आप साथ चल पाएंगे, नहीं तो आप पीछे छूट जाएंगे. आप ये मत सोचिए कि आप वो लड़की को आप आगे कर देंगे, से आगे बढ़ जाएंगे. नहीं, आप पीछे छूट जाएंगे. और वो लड़की इतनी स्मार्ट है आज की, वो पीछे मुड़कर भी नहीं देखेगी कौन गधा पीछे छूटा है, वो आगे निकल जाएगी.
Good one, good one. Ishika, I hope your question was addressed. Rupalim is saying, how did you overcome the emotional setbacks of your adolescence? Many are bogged down throughout their lives.
I could, because in this, the marriage which failed, my mother was mainly at fault, and my dad, because my dad had been playing the role of both the parents, mother and father throughout. And after she left, then it was like me and my dad, we became best of friends. So these memories are there. Definitely they are there. Those shards still prickle. But much more than that is that love and affection and trust which I got from my father. He passed away 12 years back, Ravi. But even now, there's not a single day when I don't feel his benediction, when I don't see that angelic smile, when I don't feel that, okay, he's around me and he'll always be there for me. I only have to look up and close my eyes and look up, and I know that he's going to tell me what is right and what is wrong. So with a person, with a guardian angel like that, one can never feel lost.
True, I completely agree with you. I personally believe, there's a guardian angel, and especially my dad. So, Partho says very well put, Ramendra Kumar, about reposing your trust on your child. And Ishika is pretty happy with your amazing answer. So she's saying, amazing put, sir. Beware of male chauvinists. Couldn't agree more. So, so yeah, the next question is, how do we enhance the quality of the relationships with individuals, or with the kids, with our children?
So I would say that let us now move to the society at large, because in COVID times, it's so very important that we reach out to people around us,
Hmm.
And there is one important word, and that is empathy. Barack Obama says that our society suffers from an empathy deficit. I couldn't agree more. This is one quality which we seem to be lacking. In Denmark, they have empathy classes,
Hmm.
right? And Denmark is the second happiest country in the world. In India, everybody is crazy about competition. India stands 149 out of 156 in the on the happiness index. Isn't that a kind of a pointer to the way we are going? There is a school in Rourkela, and the back of the textbook it is written, "We prepare the children for the competitive world tomorrow. We make them fit for a competition." So I want to tell them, bloody fools, are we living in the cave? In the Stone Age, where the only way a man could get his girl or his meat was by hitting the opponent on the head with a club. These are civilized times. Talk about teamwork, talk about camaraderie, talk about growing together, being together. What is this competition, man? That is where we are completely missing the bus. For instance, how do I try to nurture this quality in my kids? On my father's anniversary, usually what happens is you have something in the temple and all that. I don't do that. I either sponsor a lunch in a canine home. I don't call them canines, I call them grown up puppies or guppies in a canine home. Or last year, I had gone to a remand home here.
Hmm.
It's a jail for juvenile delinquents. I sang with them in my guttural voice. I
You
danced with them.
you sang with them.
I Yeah, I sang with them. I danced with them. I ate with them. I told them a story. And as I was going, a 12-year-old guy with a torn shirt, he caught hold to the lapel of my shirt and he said, "Uncle ji, fir kab aoge?" These were the sweetest words of 2019.
Well,
So that is how I feel. Empathy is to be nurtured. You know, we have lost empathy with nature. This COVID is a result of that. We should realize, the generation next should realize that we are not the owners of nature or the environment. We are simply the custodians. We should take care and pass it on to the next generation. We are not doing that. We are marauding. We are completely intruding. When the Sherpas climb the Mount Everest,
hmm.
what they do? They pray to the mountain god with humility and seek its blessings and seek forgiveness, because with those sharp implements, they're going to hurt the mountain god. There is no conceit there, Ravi. There is only one single word: empathy, empathy for nature. That is one quality we have to develop in Gen Next. And we have to develop in ourselves first.
I agree with you. Uh, you have more questions coming in. Neeraj Jaiswal, what made you think of writing a book on human relationships during COVID times from the Labrador's point of view? Well, it does have a dog's relationship too in it.
Yeah. It is completely from the viewpoint of my Labrador called Aryan, who's drop dead handsome, much more than his father and his brother, much more handsome, that is. And see, I wanted to give it a different spin. Ki, what would be the feelings of a lab when four members of the family, are there closeted? Are they going to have a good time? Are they going to have fights or whatever and all? Then there were also moments of, I wanted to send a little bit of a message, if you can call it, regarding nature, that how we are the intruders. When COVID happened, Ravi, and we were locked inside, animals came out and frolicked. on the streets and roads and all. But they did it with peace and harmony, not with violence. And how does man do? Man does it with violence, with disruption.
Right.
So that's a lesson for us. Also, I wanted to add some fun about that, beating the hell out of steel thalis
Mhm.
and lighting up diyas and all in good humor. They are all very good things which happened. But how would a guppy view it? Then there is a point where the guppy's partner, Priyamvada, Aryan's partner, Priyamvada, she is, her parents are transferred, so they don't want to take her. Who's going to take the trouble of taking her all that way, spending so much of the empathy? There's no empathy. Then our family adopts Priyamvada, and Aryan is very, very happy. So these are the kind of moments I wanted to, include in the book.
Superb, superb. So, Neeraj, I hope you've got the answer for that. Then we have Shashanka, asking a question: how work-life balance impacts relationships?
Yeah, because what happens now, especially, is that you have to concentrate on the work, you have to do justice to your job, but not at the cost of relationships. But what happens is everybody is in that rat race. Does it really matter? Now, I have retired as general manager. Had I retired as executive director, would it have made any difference to Ravi to call me here or not to call me here?
No.
So we are running after things which don't matter. What matters is relationships. What matters is memories. What matters is the time you spend. At the deathbed, nobody ever says, I wish I should have given a few more hours to the steel plant or to the power plant or to some other organization. They always regret, wish I had given some more time to my children or to my grandchildren. Our priorities are misplaced completely. We give importance to things which don't matter in the long run. There was this gentleman, he was the executive director in Rourkela Steel Plant. One day he told me, Ramen, I've always seen my daughter growing like this. So for a moment, I thought he's suffering from astigmatism or something. I said, why, sir? I used to leave for the plant at 6:30 and she would be sleeping. I would come back at 10 o'clock. She would still be sleeping. So I wanted to tell him. He thought I'll be impressed. I want to tell him I've never seen a bigger idiot and a more unfortunate person than you. Bigger fool and a more unfortunate person. Fool because you have not realized what you have missed. Those beautiful moments of growing up of a little girl. Those myriad moments of happiness, those smiles, those joys, that jadoo ki, jhappi and pyar ki, you've missed most of that. And unfortunate because you don't even realize you have missed. And when he died, by his bedside, there was nobody there. Even his daughter had forsaken him. This is a true, true story. So our priorities are completely mistaken.
Yeah. Just because you've got higher
Relationships
responsibility.
matter, only relationships matter.
And unfortunately, corporates or the companies look for people who are like completely dedicated towards work because they can run the show. And we like fools feel that, oh, company recognize kar rahi hai, but what are you losing in the
In
trade-off?
my own company, I've had to face a lot of ridicule, uh, opposition. My ratings were, spoiled because I valued relationships with my kids and my wife and all that, and they thought that I would leave at 5:30 because that was, and if any work is there, I'll stay. But I won't stay only to please the boss. When the boss is walking down the corridor, he will see Ramendra Kumar's room's light on. So he'll feel very happy. Sorry, I don't want to make him happy that way. So I did lose out quite a bit, but I have no regrets at all because what I have gained is immeasurable, Ravi, immeasurable. And what I've lost doesn't matter at all.
True. I agree. Those routines after a while doesn't matter at all. So, yeah, Antara is saying that's a unique book indeed. This is about the canine, your book, canine, right? Canine Chronicles.
Yeah.
Okay, Biba Khan is saying, said very emotional, sir. So, I think this particular episode, sounded very emotional. So this is the feedback. But thanks a lot for rolling in some of these lovely questions. So how do we nurture these relationships? ये fertilizer कहाँ मिलता है कि हम लोग जाके खरीदे और ये relationships को थोड़ा और stronger बनाए?
आपके खुद के अंदर, आपके दिल में, थोड़ा बहुत दिमाग में भी. For my entire life, I have been accused of, आप दिल से सोचते हैं. So I take it as a compliment. हम क्यों दिल से नहीं सोचें भाई? उसमें गलत क्या है? हम दिल से सोचते हैं और I'm proud of the fact that I think with my heart. That's what makes me a writer. Otherwise, I would have been a mason. Nothing wrong in being a mason, but I'm just telling, I wouldn't have been a writer. So how do you nurture all this? You spend time. You value relationships. You be sensitive to the needs of the others. Another small example. I had gone to Baroda. My cousin is a very big doctor there. He's got a 5-story flat, this thing and all. He was planning to have another nursing home and all. So he had called an architect. He came for lunch. I was there. So his little girl, around 4.5 or 5, she tugged him like this and said, "Papa, ek poem suno, nahi poem hai." He said, "मैं सुनूंगा." नहीं पापा सुनो ट्विंकल ट्विंकल. अरे बोला ना सुनूंगा, बाद में सुनूंगा नीलू बेटा, बाद में सुनूंगा, अभी इंपॉर्टेंट अंकल है ना. पापा सुनो ना, ट्विंकल ट्विंकल, मना किया ना, जाके दादी को सुनाओ. And I was looking at her eyes. There was something dying there, that spark had died, I think forever. That moment was gone forever. The architect could have waited, but for her, that moment was so very important. There is a quotation that when your child calls you to have a look at the rainbow and you're working, your work can wait for 5 minutes, but the rainbow will not wait. The problem with us is that we confuse the work with the rainbow, and we give more importance to the work than the rainbow.
Yeah, that's
For
a
those
very
minutes, few minutes.
very good example. So, for the society, how do we nurture, these relationships have a lot of impact to the society also. So, how do we nurture that?
It is the same thing. Spending time, being sensitive to others' needs, having that trust, and also reaching out to as many people as possible, with empathy, not with sympathy. There is a huge difference, But the problem is we do something with, the other day somebody was saying that they were feeding stray canines. Then they stopped feeding. So then this man said that, why did you stop? No, we are waiting for the cameras.
Oh,
That is the problem with us, Everywhere we are looking for a return. Social media, likes, WhatsApp something, Facebook something and all. Or a promotion, or this, or that. Sometime at least let us be unselfish. Let us be empathetic. Is it that difficult? And this is not the first time I'm saying it. Thousands of people have said since thousands of years, but we never ever seem to learn our lessons. We are perpetually getting more and more bogged down within our own selves, becoming I, me, and myself. We are the I, and our generation, my generation, not your generation, my generation is the worst of the lot, because we got reasonable values from our parents, but we destroyed them completely. We used to get time with our parents, but we are not giving time to our kids. We have not given time to our kids. So let us shun this I, me, and myself and think about the other.
you, me, and us.
Yes.
Super. So, your kids have seen you from childhood, and you both are like beautiful minds, and you've been narrating some of these stories. You've been talking about the values, what you've lost, and what you've learned from your life. So, what are the lessons you've learned from the kids?
This is an extremely important question. Ravi, I had this anger issue. Many people don't believe, because I jump around, I laugh, I tell stories, I tell jokes. People say I've got a great sense of humor, I'm witty and whatnot and all. But I had this anger issues. It was almost like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Once I would lose it, I would really lose it, My eyes would start bulging, my hands would start shaking, and I would start screaming, yelling, and raving and ranting and all. I tried my best. I even went to a counselor. Nothing worked. Then something happened. When my son was in graduation first year, his he came to know, he was in the canteen, that one of his friends has collapsed. So they rushed, his friend and the ma'am, they rushed and took him to this fellow's name was Mike. So Aniket, Pratik and ma'am took him to the nearest clinic. They tried to resuscitate, but there was no ICU. They took him to a bigger hospital. There, one doctor and two nurses, they tried everything for 45 minutes and then he collapsed. When Aniket came out, then everybody crowded around him. His girlfriend came, Mike's girlfriend came, so he hugged her and she said, "We have lost him." Then they had to inform the parents, but they couldn't inform the parents that he had passed away. So when they came, he was received at the airport, and then gradually this was told to him. And uh, the mom crumpled, and the dad didn't know what hit him, only son, at the age of 20. And Aniket was taking all this. He didn't crumble. He was taking all this. Then finally his mother pulled him close and said, when they were taking Mike, Aniket wouldn't like to call body, Mike back to Jaipur or wherever they were staying. Then Mike's mom pulled Aniket close and said, "Ani, we are taking Mike, but we are leaving his memories behind." And that's when he started crying. He almost, he clung to her and he cried and cried and cried. When he told this to me, I thought a 20-year-old who's had such a cocooned existence, whose only issue was that his girlfriend hadn't shared Cadbury with him sometime in class 4, and such a protected existence, no issues, no problems at all. He could handle it for 72 hours without crumbling, like a rock. He was standing solid for everybody. And I'm worried because the auto fellow has dashed against my car and left a dent, or the peon has not got the tea on time. Is that important? It made me think, Ravi. It made me think so much. And that day, something snapped inside, and I decided, no, nothing is worth turning from Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. And that's around 6 years now. And I had these little bit of instances, but I've never really lost it. So that's what I learned from my son. He made me a man in the true sense of the word, a man who can control his emotions.
Super, super. Thank you, Ramendra ji, for joining us. And this series about beautiful minds. So, what is the suggestion you want to give for beautiful minds in this particular series? Because you're the
I
first
think it's a
one
great
on
series.
this particular series.
And I think it's a wonderful series. You should have more and more beautiful minds and some handsome men like me also. I would like to end with 4 lines which I've written for your show,
Please.
for the viewers. Life is not about big goals. Life is not about big goals. It is not about how far you have gone, where you have gone, and when. Life is not about big goals. It is not about how, where, when. It is simply about here and now. It is simply about here and now, and you knowing your Zen, and you knowing your Zen.
Wow. Why did you change the directions?
I thought you might think that I would say that you should know your Zen. I feel that my Zen is still not good enough, so I should know it.
But yeah, it was nice talking to you, and thanks all the lovely audience who's joined this particular series. Beautiful Minds is all about those few beautiful minds who make a lot of difference, who create an identity, and who keep reminding us that life वो नहीं है जिसके पीछे आप भाग रहे हो. There's something else, and relationships matter a lot in this particular journey. That's one of the reason we've started this particular topic, you, me, and us. So thanks again, Ramendra ji, for joining us and sharing this lovely, beautiful thoughts from your mind. Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you
day,
so much.
great evening, sir. Thank you.